Welcome. And today's topic I'm so excited about because it's inner child and working with your inner child, which I think it's so important, is underrated
Underrated.
and understood. So
Understood.
it's not well understood. I'm sure there's another word for that, but it's not well understood. I know.
Underseen.
Underseen, yeah.
Underknown.
Yes. And so we wanted to talk about that
Underclear.
today. And we want to start with a video. This is from a movie called This Is Me Now with J-Lo, of all people. And I'm just going to play it and then we'll
It's
talk about
perfect for that part.
it. It is perfect for what we're doing. So Iris, please let me know when you see it.
I see it. I see it.
Awesome. And I'm sorry for the video quality may not be the best, but I just like this clip a lot.
Who is it?
It's me. But I'm little, like 8 or 9 years old, dirty and covered with cuts and bruises.
Does she say anything?
I didn't get enough love.
From Mom and Dad?
From you. You left me alone.
She's mad at me.
What do you want to say to that little girl?
I love you.
No, you love everybody else but me.
I do. I love
Liar!
you. Hey. I love you. But she says,
Say it again.
I love you.
What do you want to tell her?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
Ooh, that is very, very, very strong. It
very strong.
reminded me of the time when I was going through my dark night of the soul, the day that I have to look at myself in the mirror and admit to myself that I had done that to me. I had neglected me and I couldn't see me. I didn't value me. And no one could have seen me either because I wasn't seeing me or listening to me or respecting me. I have lost me completely. That, woo! I didn't know we were going to go there.
Yeah. And, inner child work, and again, it gets confused a lot of times because it's tied to, last week we talked about self-love and self-awareness and self-esteem, and it's tied to all that, but it goes even deeper. And that inner child, and inner child work doesn't always have to be, super depressing or super sad. Sometimes it's just recognizing who I was as a child, recognizing the part of us that wants, recognizing the part of us that, not the have to, I always call it the have to part of us. That's the adult part of us that you have to go to work, you have to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Child part of us wants. And most children want love and attention and being taken care of. That's the most common thing that children want. And then they want toys and all that other fun stuff. But being loved, being taken care of, being listened to. And how many times do we not do this for ourselves? And how many times did we neglect this when we were little?
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the thing. The way I see it is the part of us that when we were little, about 3, 4 years old, no matter what happened outside of us, we tune in to loving ourselves no matter what. It's the part of us that when we got punished, because I remember getting punished, being sent to the corner to kneel on my knee, right? Because I did something wrong according to the adult. Something wrong could be that I voiced my opinion.
You voiced
right? Exactly. I voiced my opinion, and that was wrong because the adult didn't like it. Therefore, it's a punishment, right?
Mhm.
But the inner part of you knows that's not a punishment. It's a child learning. It's a child, right? But I remember being sent to be kneeled, and I'll find something to play around with, even though I was there. It's a
Yeah.
part of us that no matter what happened, how horrible our life was when we were children, not everyone went through the same exact experience. We all experience something, but not maybe at the same rate. But we tune in to loving ourselves no matter what. We loved. I remember walking, looking at my leg, and
Uh-huh.
loving my leg. And I also remember that I became an adult and I started neglecting my leg. I started feeling embarrassed by my leg because now they were stretch marks. They had cellulite. They had all these things that it comes with an adult and
Yeah.
birthing
Right.
children, right?
Yeah.
But I forgot to love my leg for what my legs are, right?
For what they
So
do.
exactly what they do, which is from
Mhm.
A to B and C and D, right?
Mhm.
So inner child, to me, is disconnecting with that part of me that is unchangeable, that is always there no matter what.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And when we're looking at inner child work and inner child wounds, I want to also share a picture and I want us to talk about it because I think inner child wounds will also lead to those people that we get into relationship with. Because
Ah,
sometimes we try and look for that parent to take care of us, right? That
yeah,
child in us wants somebody to take care of that piece of us without realizing we can do it ourselves. We can do
yeah.
this, but we look for that partner. So in this first one with the guilt wound, you're gonna see, this supposed to say guilt, it says skull, but sorry. So feeling sorry or bad, doesn't like to ask for things, uses guilt to manipulate, is afraid to set boundaries, and normally attracts people who make them feel guilty, right? Because sometimes we get used to how to deal with life. And when somebody makes us feel different or seen in a different way, it makes me have to face something about myself that I don't want to face. So I'm going to look
Mm-hmm.
for that thing that's going to keep me in the status quo, that's going to keep
Mm-hmm.
me feeling the way I'm feeling. And this
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I don't want to blame parents all the time for everything because, you know, parenting is not
We'll do
easy.
what we can.
Parenting is not easy. And I always say, we can blame things, but you know what? Once you realize you have something, it's not about going up to somebody and being like, hey, you did this to me, but saying, hey, I need to fix this for myself. Right.
Yep. No
Um,
one can fix it. Even if your
so
parents comes back and say, I'm sorry, it's in you now. You have to fix it.
you have to
We
fix it.
have to fix our own wounds.
Yep. Yep. And as parents, remembering to listen to our kids. And I know sometimes, school, work, trillion of things to do and dinner and all of that. Sometimes we may go outside our norm, but not forgetting that this is when the inner child is being built during our children months and our children years. So help your children out of that. But to get back to this, my ADHD just kicked in a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the abandonment wound, right?
That's
So
a big one.
that is a big one. Feeling left out, fears of being left, hates being alone, codependent, threatens to leave, normally attracts emotionally unavailable people. Again, because I want to keep that status quo. I know how to deal with somebody that's emotionally unavailable. What we see with the normally attracts is we usually attract people that are like our parents or the people that give us this wound. May not be our
Mm-hmm.
parent, but the people who give us this wound. Um, the one thing with the abandonment wound is that we usually see people in this area with the codependence, with the threatens to leave, right? They do something to push away and then I'm sorry, come back and all of this because it's that abandonment.
Narcissistic personality, a lot there.
Yeah, yeah. And that's coming there. Then we have the trust wound, is afraid to be hurt, doesn't trust themselves, finds ways not to trust people because if I don't trust people, then I don't have to be hurt, right? If I don't trust, then I
Uh-huh.
don't be hurt. Feels insecure and needs lots of external validation. doesn't feel safe, and then normally attracts people who don't feel safe as well, because there's a trust wound. And again, it's just kind of keeping it all in the same world. And finding ways not to trust is so easy in this world. And I don't want to get into the AI talk or anything, but it's so easy to be distrustful of everything we hear and everything we see.
We become paranoid.
We become paranoid. And I think little by little, and the reason I said I don't want to get into the AI talk is because so much of AI now, it's looking real. So now it makes people question when they see something, is it real or is it fake? And it's my one argument with my kids, because I'll show them like a picture that I see on Facebook or Instagram or whatever of a beautiful sunset. And the kids look at it and they're like, that's not real. And I'm like, there are beautiful sunsets out there, people, right? But it's that cynicism that I think we are in right now as human beings. There's a high level of cynicism. But and again, my ADHD is kicking in, Iris. I'm gonna need your help to keep me focused here on the wounds and on the inner child.
Two ADHD together, keeping each other's accountable.
Keeping each other's company. You got it. And then the neglect wound, struggles to let things go, has low self-esteem, gets angry easily, struggles to say no, represses emotion, fears being vulnerable, and normally attracts people who don't appreciate them or make them feel seen. So again,
You just reminded me last week topic we talked about self-love and self-esteem and self-aware, how they are siblings, triplets, right?
Yeah.
These are quadruplets.
Yeah.
These are quadruplets. The feeling guilty, feeling abandonment, trust, and neglect is almost you don't see someone that constantly feel guilt that also doesn't feel abandoned at some level, or lack of trust, of neglected.
Yeah, that neglect.
So you see, feelings are always guiding us to the truth of who we are, or what we perceive that we are.
Yes.
This is
Last
so
week
good.
we
I'm
talked
glad
about
you
external senses versus internal senses. And this is an internal. This is very much an internal, but it's so important to get connected with this inner child. Because once you get connected with this inner child and you see, and again, we're probably touching all over the place, right? Which one do we have the most of? What does that inner child need? That inner child, in JLo's little clip that we saw at the beginning. I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second. In JLo's little clip that we saw at the beginning, we see her saying, I love you to that inner child, and I'm sorry to that inner child, and how moving that was. But sometimes that inner child may just need to hear, we are safe now.
I can see you. I can hear you. I'm here for you.
Here for you.
Somebody else is not going to be more important than you.
Yes.
I will tend to you now.
Now, one of the things is, how many times, and I'm gonna blame parents for a second. How many times have we had a parent tell us, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do this again. And then they go back and do it again.
Oh, we're gonna do this, but they don't show up. Or they
Or
treat it as if they never promised that they were gonna do that.
So when we're working with our inner child wounds, the biggest mistake we can make is tell our inner child, I'm gonna be here for you. I love you. I'm not gonna neglect you again. And then the next time your inner child is talking to you, you go,
or somebody else come and you forget the promise that you were going to spend time with you.
Exactly.
Or somebody comes into your life and they show you who they are, but we stay there.
Yes, we partner up, and that's why I love the bottom part of that picture. We partner, or of each one of those statements, because we partner up with that person that just reinforces that wound, and we let it happen again and again and again. And so once we meet our inner child and we see where it's coming from, and we have that person comes into our life who we're very used to be attracted to, stopping ourselves for a second and saying, ooh, this is the wounded child that I'm trying to help, and I am not gonna.
But in order for that to happen, we have to become self-aware. Because without self-awareness, we will not be able to put the two things together, that this human is only here to mirror ourselves, what the inner child is screaming of wanting or need from us.
Yes.
Like it goes back to the basic. Self-love goes back to the basic. Self-awareness goes back to the basic. Feelings are guidance.
Yes.
Not who you are.
Yes. And one thing, and as you start practicing, because as always, I like talking about these topics, but then I like to give the practical. How do I do this? Right?
How do we do this?
Yeah, how do we do this? Because yeah, it sounds pretty, but how do I actually get this done? One of it, and we go back to silencing ourselves, talking to that inner child. But then the other part is once you've had that conversation with your inner child, and if you can visualize, and this is something that actually a client taught me, they say, you know, in movies, people start doing visualizations and they see everything. And when I close my eyes, it's just dark. Well, yeah, when you close your eyes, it's just gonna be dark, and that's not gonna change. Visualizing is not always seeing with your eyes, right? And it's not gonna be like in a movie where you actually see everything change around. It's not gonna always be like that, but it's thinking it.
You won't see the birds flying.
You won't see the birds flying and the extra
and
stuff.
the grass
No,
is
you're not.
green.
You're not gonna see that. But just try and think about it. So if you're saying to yourself right now or before, I can't visualize. Okay, think about. Close your eyes, get quiet for a second and think about, right? Because visualization or the concept of visualization, I think Hollywood makes it a little bit different than it is. So if you're having a hard time with that one, just think
Hollywood makes almost everything different of what it is.
it's a little different. But so just think about it. If you're having a hard time with that concept, just think about it. But
write
think
about it too.
Yeah, write about it. Yeah.
Journaling.
Think about it, write about it, just be there. Journal, voice journal about it. But that conversation with your inner child and whatever comes up, don't judge. So if your inner child says, I hate you, that's okay. Don't judge it, right? Be like, okay, I'm here now, right? What can I do now?
What can I do now?
Right?
What
Why
can I
do
do now?
And sometimes they may say things I was like, oh, I don't remember doing that to myself, or I don't remember neglecting this part of me. Be there. And then one of my favorite things, and I learned this many years ago I used to do a vicarious trauma training, and I used to have everybody do this exercise. At the beginning of every day, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what do I need to do today? So your adult self is going to answer, we need to go to work. We need to make lunch for the kiddos for school, and we need to blah, 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 pay the bills and do this and that, right? What do I need to do? And then ask your child self, what do you want to do? I'm going to give you a very personal example. My child self always answers around the same lines of, I want to go to the beach, because that's where my child self always wants to go, or the pool, or swim somehow. So I want to go to the beach. I want to play. I want to eat young food, right? And I want to listen to music, because that's my other favorite thing, is listening to music. All right. I know that I cannot go to the beach every day, right? But what can I honor for my inner self? What can I honor for my inner child? On my way to work, sometimes I listen to my audiobooks, but sometimes when I have neglected my inner child a little bit, I just play music, and you will see me on I-4 in that long line of cars, just singing and dancing. And I am the best singer in the world when I am in my car by myself, because nobody else can hear me. So do that, right?
Nobody else that is close to you, because somebody's right there, they will hear it.
My windows are up. My windows are up. Nobody can hear it. No. Yeah, like, ask your inner child, what do you want? And your inner child, like any child, is going to give you a lot of ones that are like, dude, I can't do that today, right? But what is one thing you can honor? And it may be something tiny like playing music. It could be something tiny like eating one of those little mini chocolates, right? It could be something tiny as playing.
It could be something tiny as looking at yourself in the mirror and say, I am here.
I love you.
And I am sorry.
Yes.
And I am responsible.
Yes.
Responsible for the way I feel, responsible for the way I interpret it. It could be as simple as taking a walk. and go away from the stress of the moment and just spend that time with you.
Yeah. It's, you know what's funny? Another wonderful thing that we used to have that it's slowly leaving us, it's awe. That feeling of awe, of looking up at the sky and saying, wow,
Ah,
it's beautiful.
so
Or looking at
beautiful.
the beach in my case, right? Wow, like this is
Wow.
beautifully, this is amazing. And that sense of awe is going away. And I keep going back to the cynicism, and it's just I see it so much around me in clients, in coworkers, in kids. And give yourself a chance to be awe inspired.
Yeah.
I jump on I-4 and I see the long lines of cars. And I can concentrate on the long lines of cars and the fact that my GPS has me getting there a minute late. Or I can look out the window and I'm crossing over the St. John's River Bridge and I can see the sun rising up and the beautiful hues of the sky.
They're beautiful. They're
Oh,
beautiful. It could be as simple as going out by yourself
yeah,
and feel the uncomfortable that is felt when you go out by yourself, and you'll see the beauty after when you realize I did this.
yes,
I did this. And you see a different connection within yourself,
yes,
that's your authentic self. That's your
yeah.
child saying, thank you.
Thank you. Spend some,
Thank you.
go take yourself out on a date.
Oh
Go,
my God, that is the most beautiful thing ever.
yeah. Go on a
And it's
go
going to
watch a
be
movie.
uncomfortable at first. Feel uncomfortable.
Feel it.
That's okay.
It is. Just
It's
because
like a
something makes
mother again, like we talked about last week. Like a mother, newborn baby, she's tired. She doesn't want to get up in the middle of the night 2, 3 times a day at night to take care of this child that is crying, but she still does it, right?
Yep.
So when you go out by yourself, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Feel uncomfortable, but stay there.
Mhm.
Don't neglect yourself because somebody else wants to do something else, but you know you want to do this thing, but you neglect yourself because it's more fun if you go with someone else.
Yes.
Attend to your needs.
Oh, that's the key, right? The key is to attend to yourself. When you're doing inner child work, listen to that inner child and give that inner child the love, the peace, the whatever was missing. Whatever
Whatever
was
was
missing,
missing.
give it to
And the
them.
relationship will always show you what was missing by the way you experience your relationship.
You got it. You got it. And that's why I
Always.
love that little picture. I think it came from a website called Liberation Journal. But it's just beautiful, beautiful to see not just the wound itself, but what kind of people we attract when we have those wounds, and then how to fix it, right? Because that's the key. I always say we can be aware of so many things, but the self,
And it's the action. It's
yeah,
taking responsibility for the choices that led us to that.
you got it. It's not just accepting it. And that's, we go back to the difference between self-awareness and self-love. Self-awareness, I can be aware of it. All right. Self-love is I'm gonna take action. I'm gonna do something
Take
about it.
action. And
So
it's not going to feel easy or happy.
no,
It's just that it's like getting cut. It doesn't feel good when that cut, right? It doesn't feel good when you go to the hospital and they stitch you up,
mhm,
but you know it's good for you.
yeah, yeah. It's it was funny. I always compare it doesn't because it feels weird doesn't mean it's bad to a kid going to kindergarten or preschool for the first time and how
Yeah,
they
you
cry.
mentioned that on our first
They-
video something 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, weeks ago we talked about like how they cry and they scream and all that, and then all of a sudden you
You
go
pick
pick
them
them up
up
at the end of the day and they're like,
and you worry the whole day thinking that, oh my God, my child is sad. Blah, blah.
they were fine. Because at the beginning it feels weird. I am not with my mom and dad. I am not with my
Which is
in
a
my
normal
home.
reaction.
It's a
It's a
normal
normal
reaction.
reaction.
It's weird. So I'm gonna cry, but remembering not be like that child. When you go out on a date with yourself and it feels weird because you're the only one sitting at the dinner table at the restaurant, it's okay.
It's okay.
Believe me, most people don't care. Most people are not paying attention to you. Most people live in their own world and they're paying attention to whatever they're
You
doing.
just reminded me, I went to the one of my time that I went to the movie by myself because I love going to the movie by myself. This is coming from someone that could even cross the street by herself. This is coming from someone that didn't even have friends when she was a little girl because I was very shy. Shyness is fear, people. It's anxiety. We label it shy because it's a cuter word, right? But I remember going one of those times that I went to the movie, and this couple looked at me, and I think it was the girl that went, and I just looked and I laughed because to me, I was having the time of my life.
Yeah.
To her, she must be feeling, oh my gosh, she's here by herself. Look at her. Which is
Yeah.
to each their own
To
perception,
each
right?
their own. Or she may have even looked at you and she may have been shaking her head about something the guy said, and then you caught that look.
That's
And you
true.
internalized it for yourself.
That is true. That is true. Ah, you just reminded me. I went to a cruise, and this gorgeous, beautiful girl, she was always by herself. She went there on a cruise by herself. And she sat on that little table, and everyone, like you go to cruise with people, right? I wanted to go by myself. One of my dreams is to go to a cruise by myself. But this girl, so beautiful, I never forget her image. How confident and how the self love that she showed there, whether it was true or not, I believe it was true by being there. And when we were in groups, she was just mingling with everyone else, dancing and be part of the thing. But
The
she
experience.
was there by herself. And that is an amazing thing to do. Practice that. Practice that as a demonstration of self-love
Yes.
to connect with our child.
Find that thing that your inner child wants, and for one time, don't tell it no. I will tell you this. I'm going to tell you this quick story. I know we're a little bit over our regular time, but quick story. When I was little, I wanted a My Little Pony. My Little Pony was big, right? So I wanted a My Little Pony, and all my friends had the My Little Pony with wings. And my mom got me My Little Pony, but it was the baby pony that didn't have the wings, right? So I went to school with my Little Pony, right? Yay! And my friends were like, well, yours doesn't have wings, so it can't fly. And then I had to like stay on the ground galloping my little horse while theirs were flying, right?
Mean.
Mean, right? Okay. So fast forward to me, an adult, 3 kids, 4, I want to say it was either Christmas or my birthday. My sister gave me a My Little Pony with wings. And I am bawling, crying. She's bawling, crying. Her fiance now, who at the time was her boyfriend, is looking at us like, why did you give your 30-some-year-old sister a My Little Pony?
That's so beautiful. I love your sister.
And
we needed to heal that child.
It was healing that inner child. So if your inner child wants something, a toy, and you are able to afford the toy,
give it to her.
Your inner child that toy and with it without judging yourself. As you're playing with that toy, enjoy it like if you were a little
enjoy
kid.
Like as if you were that 3 or 4 or 5-year-old child.
Exactly.
You just reminded me, when I was a little girl, my brother received a bicycle. Mind you, we were considered poor, right? My brother received a bicycle, and I was promised a bicycle that was never given to me. I stayed with that
wound
that my bicycle was never given to me. What did I do as an adult? I got myself a bicycle. And whenever I get a chance, I mean, not whenever, I make the time. I just ride the bicycle as if I was a child. I play with all. I roll on the sand. I do whatever it takes to bring that, to build that relationship. So thank you for reminding me. I'm so glad that your sister did that for you. I am so wow, what an amazing sister.
She is
I love her.
I love my sister. And my whole family. But it's the little things when you're playing, and if there's people around you, spouse, children, friends of yours, a roommate, that look at you funny because you're playing with your toy and you feel embarrassed about it. One, if you can, don't care about it. But if you feel like not caring about it is going to be really hard, go in your room, close the door, give yourself time to do this for yourself. If you can actually not care about it, that's the best. But I know that's hard at the beginning. So
I
what
go
about
with
yourself?
the second one. I go with don't care about nobody what they think. Because when you
Don't
care
care.
about what people think, you're giving them more important than your child.
That's true. That's true. But at the beginning it's hard. And I'm gonna
It is
like
hard.
make it realistic. You know, at the beginning it can be hard. So do it by yourself for a little bit, and then little by little, tell that inner child, be like, it's okay. And then if you do have children, perfect time to open the door and play with them. And
Yes.
let your child play with another child. Because it's cool.
She
And
just reminded me.
yeah.
I go to Walmart sometime and you see me dancing and talking to myself. Why? Because I have come to a part of me that I do not care what people think. My relationship with me is above everything and anything. Why? Because I can only love others to the extent that I love me with that relationship with my child.
Yeah.
So
do it.
do it.
Do it. I love this. How are you gonna help your inner child,
Yes,
this
please.
week?
Tell
Please
us.
tell us how you're gonna help your inner child. What wound do you want to solve for your inner child? You know, and
And if you don't know your wounds, see your relationship with others, especially romantic. If the relationship is showing you pain, discomfort, people are not treating you the way you deserve. You are not treating yourself the way you deserve by allowing things that shouldn't happen, then that's a wounded child.
yes, look to have that relationship with your wounded child. If you're having a really, really hard time for this, that's why we are here. Therapists,
Call us.
coaches, videos like this. Look for more. Look for the education at first,
Yes.
and then put
Educate
it to
yourself.
practice.
Exactly. Put it to practice. Don't just listen and don't just consume it, because information that you consume but you don't do nothing about it, it's just information.
It's just
But when
trivia.
you do something about it,
Yeah.
then it becomes part of who you are to
Yes.
transform you.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
beautiful.
love
I
this.
love it.
All right. Like,
Okay.
subscribe. Please let
Let
us
us
what you think.
know.
Please let us know what other topics you want to hear us talk about. We love talking, and we love our ADHD get the best of us, and talk about other things. So please throw it on there. And we love you. Bye.
Stay as the best. Bye.